All right, it's 7:02. I'd like to call the January 27th, 2021 Zoning Board of Appeals meeting to order. My name is Ed Stevens, as chairman. Also with us is Tom Manning, the secretary. By phone is Floyd Kravitz, the vice chairman. Mr. Menzer is here, Bill Menzer, who is an alternate. He will be sitting in for Mr. Fitzgerald this evening. And Doug Smith, also an alternate, will be sitting in for Mr. Rosato, who will not be here. Charles Henry, the CEO and planner for the town, is present, and I believe Lauren Post is our recording secretary for the evening. Okay, we have one item on the agenda. We have one item which I have just lost. Okay, if anybody in the public wishes to speak, if they would let Mr. Zanrini know. And if you do speak, please give us your name and address for the record. A little bit unusual situation we have here tonight. There is no variance request. So I guess we can move right into the call of the meeting, Mr. Manning.
Okay. Bear with me a second. Okay. The call of the public hearing is discussion and possible approval to enter into a stipulated judgment in Carr versus ZBA et al. On CV 2060-4735-2S relating to the property at 17 Bank Street, Mystic, Connecticut.
Okay, Mr. Cody, are you out there?
I am.
Okay, Rich Cody, representative of the ZBA, would you fill us in?
Okay, for the record, Rich Cody with the Town Attorney's Office. As you know, I've met with the board in executive session a couple of months ago to alert them to the fact that there was an interest by the parties to settle the case. As background, a variance was granted by the board in June, and the plaintiff, Wendy Carr, appealed that decision to the Superior Court. The case really didn't go too far, or not much really happened because the parties began to talk about settlement. And the Williamses wound up selling the property to a third party, and so the Williamses lost all legal interest in the variance. And the new owners had no interest in having it, and they've expressed that they don't have any interest in it through their attorney. I believe Tom Zanarini's got a copy of that email that I hope is in the record, where it was sent by Eric Janney to the parties, just saying that he represents the new buyers and they have no interest in the variance. The statutes say that parties can't settle the cases without a court permission, and a hearing has to be held before the Zoning Board of Appeals, giving people an opportunity to attend and talk about and to be heard. So that's what the purpose of this meeting is to satisfy that statutory requirement. The reasons for the settlement and why the request for the stipulation is that the parties who brought the appeal and the parties who are the defendants just don't have any further interest in pursuing the litigation because they don't have any interest in the variance. Nobody wants the variance anymore. So the stipulation, which I hope has been circulated to you, will render the variance to be null and void. And after we spoke, I was sure to put language in it that makes it clear that the ZBA is not admitting to any wrongdoing or illegality, and in fact denies any wrongdoing or illegality, and would enter into the stipulation merely as an accommodation to the parties for purposes of settlement. So that's the background. And I believe that Janice Brooks, represents Wendy Carr, is on the line. She said she would just listen in, but she had no intention of saying anything. Jeff Londrigan, who represents the Williamses, has already written to us, and he's the one who presented the stipulation. So his parties are in agreement. We have his statements on the record. And then we have Eric Janney's email too. It says that his clients have no further interest, and they're the ones who own the property now. So that's the situation as we are. And so what you're being asked to do would be to make a motion to allow the town attorney to settle the case in accord with the stipulation.
Okay, we did receive a copy of the proposed settlement. So you've explained it. Let me see if there's any members that have any questions, Rich.
Sure.
Tom Manning?
Would it make sense for me to read in the stipulated judgment? Because I think that as a point of comment, when I first heard this was generating from, the discussion at the previous meeting, I had a concern that the ZBA found that there was a hardship based on the testimony and that we were going to be overruled on that. But when I read the stipulated judgment, it's very clear in paragraph 3 that's not the case. And it might be worth me reading that into the record. It's up to you guys.
Tom Manning, we have this in the file, correct?
It is. It's been submitted for the record. It's in the file. Unless Rich feels otherwise, I don't feel it needs to be read in.
Okay, that's fine. Everybody's seen it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not necessary from my standpoint.
Okay. Floyd Kravitz, any questions?
No, I don't have any.
Okay. Bill Munzer.
No questions. Thanks, Mr. Chairman.
Jeff Smith.
No questions.
Okay. Would somebody care to make a motion to approve the stipulated judgment?
I'll make a motion to approve the stipulated judgment as stated in the paperwork.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion? Anybody have anything else to say?
Just
Hearing
for the
none.
record, that was Doug Smith that seconded it.
Correct.
I'm sorry?
Just for the record, it was Doug Smith that seconded the motion.
Yes. Okay. And just before we vote on that, Attorney Brooks has something to say. Is that correct?
I don't think she does, but she told me she was just going to listen in.
Okay.
But
All right.
I don't know. I don't know if she's changed her mind.
If she can raise her hand if she wants to, I'm looking at it. If not, then it's going to be okay.
Not hearing anything, then I guess we're prepared to vote. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? That's carried unanimously. And so we are now, after I took a little bit out of order, actually the public hearing was closed when we voted. So the public hearing is closed now. All right. Next on the agenda is correspondence. Tom? Then,
We have no further correspondence.
okay. Now we have minutes from January 13th. Has everybody had an opportunity to read them?
I have a comment I'd like to put on the table.
Sure. Tom Manning.
In looking at the minutes of the meeting, let me make sure I get the right minutes here.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, if you have no further use for me, I'll sign off.
I'm sorry?
If you have no further use for me, I'll sign off.
Oh, we always have use of you, but what's costing us money, so you can go.
Okay. Have a nice evening, everyone.
Okay,
Okay,
you
Chris.
too.
Thank you.
In the consideration of the public hearing, let's see, I'm looking at page 2. Oh, one comment I had before I get into that was that in the minutes, I think the members present was Stebbins, Smith, Rosato, Menser, and Kravitz. Members absent, Fitzgerald. I'm conveniently missing from that because I think I was a couple of minutes late to the,
Okay.
just so that you might either put me in there or you might make a correction and say, due to tardiness, he didn't show up until 2 minutes after the start of the meeting was called to order. Okay. Going down through I'm talking about, let's see, section 3, the consideration of the public hearings, the 8 Ashby Street residents. I have no problem with the motion to approve the variance to reduce the required front yard setback from 10 to 0. The next one I have nothing to say about, and that's the motion to the variance request to reduce the side yard setback at the north boundary from 6 feet to 2 feet. But the next one, I think there's something missing. It says to deny the variance to reduce the required. Yep.
Yeah, if I can interrupt you, I did, Doug had called me today and pointed that out earlier. It's just a lost in translation thing with Kara, leaving only a day or so after these minutes were done.
Sure.
And me trying to figure out what was going on. So I went back and listened, and I believe it was what was approved was it wasn't denied, it was approved to reduce the rear yard setback from 25 feet to 12 feet 6 inches.
For the building addition.
Correct. For the building addition, yes.
Yeah. And if part of the deck was in that profile, then that was approved.
No, the back deck was disapproved, but the side deck was approved.
That's right.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Okay, so
So the new building goes right up to the setback without any deck on the rear.
Right.
So that's the only comment I had. So I guess we're all
And then
in.
also, just for clarity, the motion to approve the building coverage from 35 feet to 35% to 38%. That 38% comes out to 1,080 square feet. I know there was
Okay.
discussion on that. And Doug,
Right.
And I assume that number is good to accept the total of the building addition and whatever okay. So that's within the 38%. Okay. So with those the correction to the other one, I think I didn't have any other comments.
So does somebody care to make a motion to approve the minutes as correction?
So just for me to be clear here, the third motion that we're saying the motion was to approve the variance to reduce the required rear yard setback from 25 feet to 12 feet 6 inches, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And by that's eliminating that rear deck.
Correct. Yes.
right. What it was there was a separate request to reduce it for the deck, and that wasn't considered. So.
Correct.
Okay, so
I make a motion to approve the minutes as amended.
okay,
Seconded.
Okay, any further discussion? Thank you, Floyd. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Abstentions? None. Okay, moving on. Old business. Tom?
There is no old business.
Okay, anybody have any old business? Okay, you're none. New business.
There is no new business. There are still just the pending applications. February 10th is the Sealy School appeal. I have the 0 and 6 Casino Road is awaiting revisions, and I received what came on my desk today, a variance ZBA 21-02 for 45 Essex Street.
Okay.
That
So,
has not been scheduled yet.
so what will we hear on February 10th? Just the appeal?
Just the appeal.
Oh, okay. The others will be after that. Okay. Staff report?
There's none?
None? Okay. Any of the members have anything to bring up?
Just one question. Who's replacing Cara? Or haven't they decided yet?
No, like I told everyone before, we received about 300 applications for her position. So Human Resources is going to go through those. We're hoping to have someone, from what I heard, we're hoping to have someone on the first week of March.
Oh, great. Okay. So you got the load till then. Is that it, Tom?
Lauren Post will be doing the minutes. She'll
Okay.
be listening to them on a recording later. But yeah, we're all covering up the load. Lauren and Deb Galot and Linda are picking up a lot of it.
Good. Okay. Thanks.
Okay.
Sure.
Is there a motion for adjourn?
So moved.
I make a motion we adjourn.
Floyd, okay. Is there a second?
Floyd
Doug,
Kravitz.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Well, we are adjourned at 7:20. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Ed. See
Thank
ya.
you, gentlemen.
Yep,
Take
Thank
care,
you,
everyone.
gentlemen.
Good night.
Good night.
Night.
Good night, guys. Have a good night.
Yep, everybody. You too.
Bye.